Okay, I chose, I'm going to choose the pound here. One, because I know you like it, and two, because we just got finished looking at it, doing the bump and run. Now, keep in mind, I'm not telling you that this is a trade to take, okay? But if you were just looking at the chart, you would try and find a level by looking at simple support and resistance like here. You see this where my horizontal line is going across, how it's touching the bottom of these candles and how it's touching the top of these candles. And we also have support roughly around where we're at right now, which is because this is a transitional day, it might not break this low of what is the low there, 179.60. We also, we wouldn't know that by looking at the chart, but the quick view the quick view has the level showing us at 179.69 support there, and we've got resistance above us at 181.53, 181.84. Those are tight. We're in a transitional day, and there is a reversal long signal, meaning that our RSI has dropped too drastically, and we've given a short bottom as well. So there's a possibility that we could do the reversal. Here's the bearish takeover signal. Resistance at 181.93, 182.06. So, that's okay. But see, that's quick view, the chart. Let's go to the chart. Support somewhere around there. Resistance showing up at 183.14. Also 181.71. Why? Because you've got this gap here. Let me highlight the gap, and there's actually two gaps. So let me highlight those for you. Okay, now if you take a line and put here 181.35, and then another line here, this gap here. So you've got this gap. Actually, a better way to do it would be to put lines, because we're looking at such a small chart that a lot of space is going on in between. This, okay, that's better. 82.02 and 81.35 is the distance of this gap, and then a distance, I'll zoom in a minute, between here and here. That gap. Now let's zoom into it so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, we've got the difference between the gaps here, and then over here we've got these gaps. Now notice that this first gap that we're at is the first one that we would come to between 81.35 and 82.02. Remember the levels that we looked at in quick view? 81.71, I think. 81.53 was another. Let's look at them real quick. I know this isn't what you're talking about, but it's still 81.93, 81.53, 81.48. They're right in the middle of where this chart is showing us, where we've got some type of area that will create resistance on the short side, and if we break through it, it's going to go to this next area. Gaps tend to want to fill. This gap is filled already, so now it could act as resistance, or it could be this one that it's going to look for, but I don't know if it would come that quick. Okay, but then again it can. Why? Because we have a transitional candle right here. This candle, if it doesn't fall and break this low, man, and start heading back up, no telling. Like I said on the other one, this could become a really long green candle here and go flying. I mean, it can really make a razor blade on you, like this one did. See, a lot of people were waiting for it to break this low, but it wasn't going, and we went all the way up. Okay, so it can happen again. I mean, if you zoom back, you can see that the trend line, this is the first breach of the trend line. So there's a good possibility, there's a probability that, hey, this is not going to break this low. All right, you following me? I hope so. Anyway, that's as far as looking for levels on the chart alone, which is almost become impossible for me to do now because I've gotten so used to using this quick view. But nevertheless, looking for areas of support and resistance, I just, if all I have is a chart and I don't have anything else, I'm just going to look for these support and resistance. Now, the other thing is I'm going to change my time frames. I'll jump to the 4-hour, look at the 4-hour. Here's the 4-hour. I can get more out of, I can get further in here. I can get more support resistance levels. Here's one right here, back at the same place I was before though, resistance, here's resistance, 182.60. Let me see if we can find, well, we got a cup and handle pattern there. You see the cup and handle? Let me get a little more in it. See the cup and handle here? But it's falling into, not, the handle is broken, which means bearishness. We'll probably see something like it come back up and touch the resistance in here, or maybe even fill this gap and come back to the downside. Right now, because that low was breached, we have to consider it on this 4-hour and start drawing a trend line to the downside. Let me get rid of this. So as you can see, this is downtrending, and as I mentioned earlier about the early detection on this pound would have been done at the open, after this 4-hour candle, and then breaching this low down here because it gapped down where the Kiwi didn't make a gap. But here we had a gap down and then broke the low. We're well below the close here. Go short. I mean, we're in, as far as this 4-hour candle on the early detection saying short is in. And we might see, or at least crosses, when you get crosses like this, those are good levels to use for resistance or support. This will be a good support level where this cross is right here at 176.14. Look for price to react to it. Not far from where this support level is here at 177.63. Okay, another one at 179.07. But right now we're dealing with a short position that's looking to go down, especially when it breaks this low here on the daily. This is the low from the daily, but it might try and make its way up to about 182.01 before finishing the descent, or confirming the descent. So that's where we are on this. Now, just with the chart, that's where I find my levels. I'm looking at, I will set up these lines based on those gaps. And look, I've got intersection. I've got an intersection right here at 181.31, but this one looks really much better at 182. Probably give it a little bit, or even with a candle like this. Let's zoom in. I got to make this quick. See this candle? Go halfway up the stick there around 181.31. Put your stop over the top of it, 181.91, which is really where you should be taking your short, because it's 181.93 is like your long. Anyway, back to the chart. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. That's about, I think I got my point across. I hope I got my point across. So I was on the wrong, I was looking at the euro yen there for a minute. Okay, trade to trade well.